Good morning. Thank you for joining us. I probably am not going to commit a whole lot of news here today, but I felt that it, as Bethany said, was important to make myself available for an update and to answer questions such as I'm able. Tomorrow, of course, is the 1 year anniversary of one of the worst disasters we've ever had in America, certainly in Ohio. And I want to start by telling the people of East Palestine and Columbiana County that they are not forgotten. We continue to press forward for answers and to get to a place of restorative justice. I suppose to the extent that I'm going to say anything newsworthy today, it's this. Despite the rumors that you may have heard that settlement is in the works or is imminent, from the point of view of the state of Ohio, nothing could be farther from the truth. There's simply too many answers that we don't have, and no responsible public official should be pushing to reach a final conclusion or a resolution on this lawsuit or these issues surrounding the lawsuit without having complete information, answers to the questions, knowing what went wrong and why, and who's responsible. And as we stand here today, I can't tell you the answers to many of those questions. It looks as though we will not get a final report out of the NTSB until sometime late spring or early summer. That report is indispensable to understanding what went on and to understanding what a just resolution will look like. Now, I want to hasten to say that Norfolk has been very active and very responsive in all of this. Most of the first phase cleanup on the ground has been completed, and they have paid a great deal of money, both for the cleanup and to assist the people of East Palestine and the surrounding area. That doesn't mean that everything's been taken care of, but it does mean that the pressing immediate needs have been addressed. Among the things that still remains to be seen is what are the long-term effects? And perhaps we won't see any. We can pray for that. But our experience in so many other areas suggests that there are downstream consequences that will only become clear over time. Things that ought to be made right, and resources will need to be available to assure that that happens. Among the things that we don't know, on the car that had the bearing that failed, what happened with the inspection? What was the record? Was it inspected according to the normal schedule, and was it properly done? What do the records say? Did those inspections turn up anything that should have been a red flag? How about the maintenance? Was it properly done? Were there intervening factors in the environment that would have suggested special or non-routine maintenance should have been done that wasn't? How was the car used? Were the trucks on the railroad car, the undercarriage that has the wheels for the railroad car, have they been changed out? Did this come from another unit? Who owned it? One thing that's not known generally is that the railroads mostly don't own those cars that are on their trains. Those are owned by independent companies, maintained, inspected, loaded. So we have questions about who exactly had what ownership interests and what responsibility. The wayside detectors and the safety equipment, everybody's heard at this point about the detectors along the railroad tracks that can detect elevated temperatures. But there's a lot we still don't know about those. And we don't know what the criteria are or were at that time for taking action, or what kind of action, or specifically where the data went or how it was monitored. We have some preliminary answers, but we need to nail that down, and some fair policy questions like who gets to make the decision is important as well. I would think that it ought to at least be explored whether the engineer, the working guy actually on the ground, actually at risk for the derailment, got real-time information, and whether that person had the authority to make a decision on the basis of safety for him, for the train, for the community. We also need to understand the vinyl chloride cars. Where did they come from? How were they equipped? Did they have the proper safety equipment on them? Were they properly loaded with this material? How about their maintenance? And the Pearson burn decision. At the end of the day, we have some visibility in through the heroic first responders there in East Palestine. I've met with the mayor and the fire chief on several occasions and have immense respect for them. But they were not the only actors and not solely responsible. We need to understand what happened there on that fateful decision and whether it was necessary, whether it was timely, whether the science indicated that that was the right way to go. As you can see, all of these things would go to not merely money damages, but questions about whether injunctive terms are appropriate going forward for Norfolk Southern, whether Congress should be acting. And I want to give a shout out to Ohio's Senators J.D. Vance and Sherrod Brown, who have been on top of this from day one and are proposing legislation to enhance railroad safety. Not an expert and I'm not endorsing their legislation, but I appreciate the fact that they're leading, that they're learning and they're innovating, legislating, doing their jobs to try to make us safer. At the end of the day, we need answers, and answers don't come in a minute. We're going to have to let this process play out, and we intend to do that. I want to repeat that it would not be responsible for any official to drive forward to a final resolution of this matter, of this dispute, of this accident, without having good, clear answers, the best that we can get. And I'm not going to go forward until we're ready to go forward. In the meantime, the number one issue and concern for my office is the health and safety of people of East Palestine and Columbiana County.